Affecting 1 in 68 American children, autism is a topic that is central to conversations and controversy. There's a lack of clarity about what exactly it is, what causes it, and how or whether to treat it. Perhaps because of this lack of clarity, within a society that values categorization, representations of autism tend to draw on a few stock characters. The first is the autistic savant who has extreme intelligence in some area, usually math or science. This character's brilliance does not extend into the realm of social skills. He demonstrates a lack of empathy and is often uninterested in human relationships. The second focuses not on the autistic individual, but on the family as they cope with a diagnosis and seek support. These representations are not untrue for some autistic individuals, but the lack of variability in these representations does create stereotyped ideas about what autism is. This summer, Netflix launched an original series called Atypical. The lead character, Sam, is an autistic 18-year-old who attends a high school by day, works at a tech store by night. The main plotline is about Sam's romantic life, and specifically his mission to get a girlfriend. While the premise of the series hints at following some of the stereotypical representations, it differs in that the story is told through Sam's perspective, and it focuses on his desire for a relationship. Leading up to the series release, Netflix assured viewers that autistic individuals were hired as consultants, and members of the neurodiversity movement expressed hope for a neurodiversity positive representation of autism. So, what would this look like? In short, this representation would be driven by autistic experience, focusing on difference rather than deficit, emphasizing the assets of the neurodiverse, and calling into question the use of neurotypical traits as the benchmark of what is normal. Unfortunately, I believe that Atypical missed their opportunity to create this type of representation, beginning with choosing a title for the series. The show could have used the title in order to call attention to the power that neurotypicals have in naming what is and is not typical and what is and is not autism. Instead, the idea of typical and atypical behavior is used throughout the series to invoke a sense of pity as viewers hear Sam discuss his desire to be normal. Sam narrates many of the scenes within the show, explaining his thoughts to the audience. Viewers soon realize that this narration actually comes from sessions with his therapist. He tells us about the difficulties he has with loud sounds and certain textures. He explains his difficulties understanding the perspectives and thoughts of others. At one point, Sam explains that he feels a lot of empathy once he understands that someone's upset. Maybe even more than neurotypicals, he says. This statement is certainly meant to challenge the empathy deficit definition of autism. What's missing from a neurodiversity perspective is a challenge to neurotypical norms surrounding emotions. An opportunity for this type of challenge presents itself when we see Paige, Sam's ex-girlfriend, screaming on his front lawn while cutting the throat of a stuffed penguin with a pocket knife. Sam's character could have drawn on his assets by explaining how his difference allows him to remain calm and in control in emotionally charged situations that would have caused a hasty and similarly dramatic emotional reaction from many neurotypicals. Throughout the series, viewers are able to see the way that neurotypicals in Sam's life attempt to influence and control his behavior. His mother, Elsa, is the super advocate autism mom, and she attempts to control everything from his clothing to the topic that he discusses with his therapist. His girlfriend Paige limits him to 3 Antarctica facts per day. Sam's character interprets this as making him a better person, rather than challenging why he needs to change facets of his personality in order to be more acceptable to neurotypicals. One instance where Sam does not give in to the influence of neurotypicals is during a scene in which he is picking out clothing to attract a girlfriend. He picks out a 100% cotton shirt with 8 Antarctic whales on it, and he sticks to his decision when pushed to reconsider. However, when his neurotypical friend insists, he does agree to wear a leather jacket that he describes as horrible over his new shirt. Sam's character often expresses his desire for independence and explains to his family members that he's capable of doing things on his own. In this scene, viewers think that he's getting ready to tell his sister Casey that he'll be fine on his own once she begins attending a different school. Instead, we hear him say that Because his mother and father will be around, he'll be fine. Rather than portraying Sam as someone who's learning to advocate for himself, Sam's ultimately reliant on those around him. While this is certainly a reality for many autistic individuals, this representation doesn't challenge the factors that have necessitated reliance on neurotypicals. For example, what does the amount of structure and interventions that are provided to autistic individuals communicate to them about their ability to speak, act, or think for themselves? A trait that some autistic individuals possess is the tendency to speak honestly. Neurotypicals usually focus on the fact that this brutal honesty does not take into consideration the feelings or perspectives of others. Sam demonstrates brutal honesty in a scene where he repeats something that he's heard his sister say about another girl in school. The dialogue in this scene makes Sam a source of humor. Autistic high schoolers often do experience this type of bullying. However, the show once again misses an opportunity to do more than reinforce stereotypes and invoke pity. As some members of the neurodiversity movement suggest, the honesty that many autistics possess could be framed as an asset, in that autistics are much less likely to lie or deceive than neurotypicals. This has certainly not been a comprehensive look at the many facets of autistic representation within Atypical, but I would like to suggest from the examples I've referenced that while the show does not provide the hoped-for neurodiversity positive representation of autism, what it does provide is a tool that may be used to highlight how autism continues to be mainly defined and described from a neurotypical perspective.